Hi, this is Nikki Porto from Trojan Intermediate School in the Potosi R3 School District for EA 756. I am making this video about our district report card and our revenue sources. I know that there are two other videos from some of the gentlemen also working in our district, so some of the information that you're hearing may be a little bit similar. But I looked at our revenue sources, and behind me, you can't see very clearly from the computer screen, there is a glare. But I looked at our local, state, and then a school district that it's about 20 miles from here. I looked at just our different funding and how our district basically functions. So locally, we have about 29% of our funds come from local funds. We don't have a lot of industry around here, so that really wasn't surprising for me as compared to the state of Missouri, which is about 55% if you look at the other schools. The school that I actually chose that's close to us is North County, or North St. Francis County R1, and they have about 37% come from their local funds because they do have a little more industry than we do here in Potosi and in Washington County. Then I looked at how much money comes from state funding. Our district gets about 58%, which is a large percentage of funding, as compared to overall in the state, which is about 35%, and then North County, they have 51%. So we are pretty comparable to North County. So that was kind of surprising that our districts are pretty comparable. We do receive a lot of funding from the state to help our districts keep going. On the federal level, Potosi gets about 12.44% as compared to the state at 9% and North County at 11%. Again, very comparable to this neighboring district of how we get some of those federal funds. When I took a glance at that Secretary of the Board report, thinking of some of those aha moments, some things that I didn't really know, I really wasn't aware that there were so many different revenue codes. Just looking through all of that, seeing different funds here and there, some things just completely empty, just left me thinking, why are there so many codes? Have a few more questions about that. Didn't know as much money was put toward the lunch and breakfast programs, so that was interesting to see all of that. I know that that really benefits our students. We have very high poverty in our district, so I'm very glad that our kids get to come to school and have their lunch and breakfast for free. So I'm very glad that we get all of these funds to help with that. Something kind of aha was transportation. I know that our bus director said that we have one of the oldest fleets around, and he does the best that he can with the funding that he has to make it run. I think it was a mid 200,000s for our transportation. Maybe hoping to see a little bit more on that because we do live in a very rural area. We have to drive many, many miles. I know some of our kids get on the bus on there for an hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon. And so I know a lot of money is needed just for maintenance, repair, fuel, even new buses to make sure all of our kids get to school. So kind of surprised by those numbers. Not surprising for me was maybe our Title I funds from the federal level. When I was an assistant principal, I got to take a few peeks at that money. We didn't get a lot of that funding at our building. Our assistant superintendent would say, here is your funding. Maybe a couple $1,000s that we got to use for supplies or presenters. But I knew a little bit about the title funds for the district. Something else that didn't completely surprise me was preschool funds, and that's at zero. Our district actually has a preschool, but we pay for it ourselves. We don't receive any preschool funding for our preschool. So seeing that big zero in that column, it is disappointing, but it is wonderful that our district does go ahead and have a preschool with 4 teachers. Not a lot of students, but I know early education is so important, so I'm glad that we do come up with our own funds to have that program. A question that I would have about our revenues for our superintendent, I know it has been stated by at least one other gentleman from our district, but I also wonder, we're looking at maybe at least 70 students, if not more, less for this upcoming school year, and our superintendent has said something like 350,000 plus less in funds revenue next year. So just a question of planning for that, looking at, how do we Cuts, projects, personnel. I know for this building, I'm losing a teacher from retirement, looking at replacing her, not replacing her. How are those decisions made when we know that we're going to lose a large amount of funding due to decreasing student population? So that is all from Nikki Portel at Trojan Intermediate School. Everybody have a great evening.